Sounds like Bill O'Brien might have had some really tough words for Thomas Castellanos, but did he say it? Was it out of context? Honestly, it doesn't really matter.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk Bulls. We're going to look at which ones I think BC could be in the hunt for, which ones they're not, which ones I hope they might get. We'll talk about the upcoming game against Pitt and how they're going to face a Panthers team that's a hurting buckaroo. And just kick things off, Bill O'Brien talks about Thomas Castellanos to a reporter, and the words he uses are pretty tough. So let's start that off. Thomas Castellanos is gone. It's like Jacob Marley in Christmas Carol, right? If you know that Thomas Castellanos is gone, the rest of the story doesn't make sense. Anyways, Castellanos quit on BC about a week and a half ago. And everything that we've heard of from Bill O'Brien, he's played the company line. It sounds like Bill Belichick out there a little bit, right? Saying, we wish him the best. He's no longer with the team. Not really saying much in general to disparage the kid. Just, we're moved on. We're going on to Grayson James. This is it. This is where we're going. Well, earlier this week, we had a video, and it was actually up on my website, and I did not listen to it because I didn't see it. Sometimes they put videos up, and I just don't see it. And it was Andrea Kramer. We talked about this yesterday with Mitchell Wolf on We Need to Talk, and it's her and three other ladies, I know one of them's Jenny Dell, talking about the situation. And Andrea Kramer, clearly was not a big fan of what Thomas Castellanos did, called him a quitter, said all that kind of stuff. But she ended the clip with a quote that's gone viral, and I think it's worth addressing. And she said, and I quote from Bill O'Brien, this is what she said, okay? We brought in Castellanos and told him we were making him second team and for him to view it as an opportunity to sit back, learn, improve, work hard, and be ready. He didn't like it and he left the team. 99% of our guys are tough and smart. He was an outlier at Boston College. That's the quote from Andrea Kramer on the show. Now, we didn't hear Bill O'Brien say these words. I personally have a hard time believing that he would go out and rip a kid, even if the kid quit on him, to the media. Just doesn't seem like something he would do. But I do say this. It could have been taken out of context. It could have been a slip. It could have been anything. But I do say this, that Bill O'Brien had every right to say something like that because Thomas Castellanos put this program in a bad spot when he did what he did. Okay? All Castellanos, as we've said all along, had to do was bite his tongue and get through 3 games, not even the bowl game. And he would have been fine. Folks would have, saw him as a one-year wonder who struggled in his second year, but there would be no, any ill will towards him. But no, something happened. Clearly there was something that happened behind closed doors that whatever happened, he just took his ball and went home. And so you look at what that means for BC's culture. Like BC had the opportunity, Bill O'Brien is setting a culture here with his coach, by being a new coach. He talks about practice. He talks about being tough, disciplined, all that stuff. And when you have your quarterback get hit with adversity and then bail, the first sign of adversity, you have to send a message. Now, do you send it through the media? I don't think that is probably the best choice. But hey, it's his team. If he wants to do that, he has every right to. Okay? I thought, what he said, are any lies detected? I don't sense any lies here. Tell me, it's like that. If you ever watch wrestling, CM Punk had this promo in AEW where he was talking about a guy and he says, "Stop me if I'm telling lies." And I think the same thing with Bill O'Brien here. Tell me when he's telling lies. He's not telling any lies. And unfortunately for Castellanos, the age of student athletes is kind of gone. O'Brien pushes that a lot when you hear him talk. He talks about his guys, they're going to class. Even Castellanos said it. What are you doing the next day? I'm going to class. I'm a BC guy. But he's not a BC guy. By making this decision, Castellanos proved he wasn't a BC guy. He put himself in front of 100 other guys. He put his needs in front of 100 other guys. And for that, he's not a BC guy. He's a guy making a selfish act, and that's what he did. And you know what? He got paid handsomely to do that, to play here. So I don't want to hear about him being a kid. I don't want to hear about him, being tough on him. The kid's driving a sports car and making six figures. I'm sure most quarterbacks are. He's gonna. This is part of the deal. This is the deal you make with the devil here. Like if you want to live this life, you got to take the criticism with it too. And so I'm not the biggest fan of a coach going out and blasting his player to the media if that's exactly what happened. Again, we don't know if this was taken out of context. I'm just reading you what I read. But I'm telling you, if that's the message he wants to send to his team, he has every right to do that. Because this is his first year. He's got guys here that are all Jeff Hafley guys. He is showing that you need to be a practice player. You see all the players that come in and practice, they get onto the field. You need to play hard. You need to win and do things in the trenches. You need to do all the little things right. And you need to put the team above yourself. You have to earn it. That's the key right there. You go to a BC football game, they have the hype video, and what does it end with? Earn it. Castellanos did not earn the starting job. Clearly, that was what he wanted that message to him to be made. However, he could earn it by going through practice and trying to get it back. Castellanos had no interest in that. He quit instead. And for that, he isn't a BC guy. He's a quitter. And that's the truth, right? You can get angry about what I'm saying if you're a Castellanos fan all you want. But at the end of the day, he's a guy that all he had to do was make it through 3 games, support his brothers that he loves and talked about all the time, and he couldn't even do that. So if O'Brien wants to bash him for it, he's probably the highest paid player on that team. You know what? He has every right to. As I said before, not the move I probably would have made because, sometimes I think the best noise you can make is behind closed doors. But that's his choice. I wished I could be a fly in the wall in this whole situation. I wish I could have seen what happened when he got that news and why this happened, like why things turned the way they did. I mean, I've been to enough practices. I saw enough that, like, at practice, Castellanos was doing everything right. But clearly, when he got that bad news, it switched something on him. And he quit. So this was an interesting quote. I'm curious, today on Tuesday, there'll be a press conference if anyone asks him about that. It's a good question to ask and see if O'Brien has any more thoughts on that. But I had to address it because it was the biggest BC news story of the day. Now, in a moment, let's switch things up. We're going back to the future. Marty McFly, hop in. We're jumping in. And we're going to talk about the Pitt Panthers. And we'll get into what they are going to look like and why I think, I don't ever want to look past a team. I'm kind of looking past a team. We'll get into that in just a moment. Now, I love going to football games, baseball games, hockey. I mean, you name the sport, I will go. If you get me tickets, I will go. And if I'm going to get my tickets, I'm going to get them on Game Time. Game Time is a feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. They filters out all the fluff so you get all the greatest deals done. Great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, you can get super deals. You can find them easily. And so if you want to save some money, you need to use Game Time. With Game Time, they have all-in prices. You can toggle this feature on to get the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkouts. With the lowest price guarantee, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find it cheaper somewhere else. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create a code and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. This is Locked On Boston College. AJ Black here. And if you are looking for some more good Boston area content, check out Locked On Patriots. There's so much going on with that team right now. After an embarrassing loss to the Miami Dolphins, Locked On Patriots has all the angles covered. Check them out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, let's put Thomas Castellanos back where he belongs, out of our view. We're going to discuss game number 12, the final game of the season, a chance for win number 7. And it's against the Pitt Panthers, a team that embarrassed you last year. Remember, this was after the path. BC had ripped off a bunch of wins. They had 6 wins. They were on their way to 7. All they had to do was go to Heinz Field and beat the lowly, who ended up being 3-9 Pitt Panthers. And what happened? They got their butts kicked. And I know the score wasn't that far off, but BC's offense in that game was bad. Thomas Castellanos was bad. Everything about that game was bad. That was the game, I believe, the beginning, Kari Johnson had probably the worst targeting foul I've ever, or most blatant targeting foul I've ever seen in my life. It just went downhill from there. Now, Pitt this year, to their credit, turned things around to begin their season. They started off the year 7-0. They were the talk and toast of the ACC, with Pat Narduzzi all of a sudden becoming the genius that won the ACC a couple years ago. You had Eli Hosteen, their transfer quarterback, a former 4-star from Alabama, lighten things up. The defense looks strong. They're winning all these games. And all of a sudden, everything starts crashing back to earth. Hosteen gets hurt. They lose. They've now lost 4 in a row. They lost a close one to Clemson, but close doesn't count unless it's hand grenades or horseshoes. And last weekend, they got pasted by Louisville. But the news got even worse. In the last 2 days, Rodney Hammond, their running back, he's gone for the year now. And Eli Hosteen, he had some sort of leg injury that he's not playing because he had an air cast on last week. It sounds like a broken leg. He's not going to play in this game. So you get Nate Yarnell. Now, Nate Yarnell, if you remember watching that game in Pittsburgh last year, was the team that torched Boston College. The announcers were just loving. I mean, he played well as he beat up a completely disorganized and undisciplined BC team. If this was Jeff Hafley coaching this team, I would still be concerned. Jeff Hafley never seemed to have the team ready for anybody, and either would play up or down to whoever they were playing, and it was always a nail biter. This feels different. Bill O'Brien, now that they've got the quarterback situation settled, the offense is clicking. I don't care how beat up the defense is, they're playing much better. You have a team that does not make mistakes. Well, they make mistakes, but they're not going to kill themselves. And for me, the issues going on with Pitt is the perfect opportunity for a BC team that is hitting their stride at just the right time to go out there and smack them around. Right now, you looked at I saw the spread on Circa Sports. It was -2 for BC just yesterday. It's already up to -5.5. And honestly, that seems kind of low to me. Pitt's not that good. They played a really weak schedule to start their season. If I look at their schedule, I don't think they've beaten anybody. when you look at who they've won. They've got wins against Kent State, horrible. Cincinnati, not even bowl eligible. West Virginia, not bowl eligible. Youngstown State, bad. UNC, we just beat them. Cal, I don't think they're that great, and they beat Syracuse pretty badly. So they're one win. They've got really like one. Cal and Syracuse are really like their only wins that really matter. And UNC. So they've got a couple decent wins, but those are all with Austin. They don't have him anymore. So BC is going to get them at just the right time. And this is the perfect opportunity for BC. You win 3 out of your last 4 games, head off into a bowl game, and with the potential for 8, that would be an enormous boost for this program and get a real jolt heading into the transfer portal and finishing up your recruiting class. So there's a lot of potential here. BC just cannot blow it. Parts that worry me about this, honestly, is nothing that BC can do. I'm going to say this is just my diatribe here. I hate the after Thanksgiving game. Just it's always poorly attended because everyone's still doing family stuff. The students aren't there because they traveled home and many can't get back. It's just a terrible atmosphere, and I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if there's anything you can do to fix that. I don't think there is, but I just imagine for many folks across the country, these games, unless it's like, the Iron Bowl or some of these bigger match Texas A&M type of things, they're not going to get really well attended because there's people. It's cold for us. It's also going to be. I saw like high of like 30. It's going to be freezing. People aren't going to want to be out there. That part worries me because it's like we joke about Conti Morgue here on Locked On Boston College, but Alumni Stadium is going to be really quiet. And then what I saw at the student section last week, it's going to be like that all game because they're just not going to be there. So that worries me as well. But if the defense can play as aggressively as they have been, get to Yarnell, make some turnovers, and Grayson James can just efficiently run that offense, there's no reason BC shouldn't win this game. This is a game tailor-made for a good coach, a well-coached team like Bill O'Brien has, to just go out there and get a win. And for a team that was projected to win 4.5 games to win 7 before even the bowl game, that's a good feeling. And I think that's going to happen. So we'll have Mitchell Wolf on our Friday show. Just a heads up as well, while I got you here, we are not doing a show for Thanksgiving. I'm taking a day off. I'm sorry. I will have a show for Wednesday, and I'll have a show for Friday. And heck, I'll even have a show on Saturday for a post-game show. But I'm not going to do one on Thursday this week, so I deserve a little bit of a break. I'm sorry, and I hope you understand. But in our last segment, I want to talk bowls, because now it's no longer just a potential, it's happening. And what are some bowls that we can look forward to and some situations that we need to watch for? I'll get into all of that in just a moment. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place on live bets all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the live stats, review live play-by-plays, and get more on the same page where you place your bets. I'm recording this on Monday night. I'll tell you what I have right now, what I looked at. On FanDuel, you can make a parlay. This is a BC-centric parlay that I was looking at. Zay Flowers, anytime touchdown. Zay Flowers, 50 yards of receiving or more, and the Ravens winning by more than 2 points. Put those all together, get some pretty good odds on that. Maybe you have a good night. I don't know. I haven't even looked at the score yet, but you can. That's the fun part about FanDuel. You do your research, you figure things out. You go on there, it's all there. That's great. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get yourself started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here. We're wrapping things up, but I want to tell you again, some of you have not had a chance to do this yet. Become part of our Eagles Nest subtext program. You get direct access to me. I get people texting me all the time, all sorts of questions or thoughts about BC. I send videos. I sent one after the game. I send you thoughts about everything. I try to send you notes every day about Boston College. Check it out. You can get a free month, risk-free, if you use the promo code Bill O'Brien Monster on when you sign up. So make sure you check that out. Again, it's our Eagles Nest subtext program, part of the Locked On experience. It helps support the program. Use promo code Bill O'Brien Monster to check it out for free. I hope you sign up today. Now, bowl time. BC is 6-5. They're going bowling. So are a lot of other teams. So I looked at the bowl lineup, and I believe that the ACC has 12 bowls associated with them. And right now they have 11, I believe it's 11 teams with, or 10 teams that are bowl eligible. They're going to have 11 when either Virginia Tech or UVA wins that game. That's crazy that Virginia Tech is not bowl eligible yet. After watching them stomp Boston College a couple weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, feels like a couple weeks, about a month and a half ago, they really haven't played all that well. And they could be out of a bowl game if they lose to UVA. But that would make it 11. Then you have to also wonder if SMU, Clemson, or Miami, if 2 out of the 3 teams there make a bowl, that would also free up some spots. And finally, NC State has 5 wins. If they beat UNC, they become bowl eligible. So if more teams, one thing to watch for is if only one ACC team makes the playoffs, that would be bad for BC in terms of where they fall in the pecking order. If NC State wins, that's also bad. If you want them to make an ACC bowl, those are all things to watch for. Because if you know the way the bowls work, basically it's a tiered system. There's the tier 1s. Those are the good bowls. That's like the Orange Bowl, the Duke Mayo Bowl. There's a bunch, and it just kind of goes down. Teams can't jump other teams if they are more than 1 loss behind. I mean, 1 win behind. So like BC couldn't, if they won 7 games, if there was like a 5-win team, they couldn't get jumped by them. But because BC's at 7 or 6 wins, they can get jumped by anybody. And believe me, BC is one of the least attractive teams in the ACC for bowls. So they're going to fall down wherever they go. So what bowls could they get? If they get into the ACC level bowls, the bowls, I think there's 3, I think, if they win, that they could get into. If they win 7 games, if you like Northeast Stadium, baseball stadium bowls, look for the Pinstripe Bowl again. That could be a potential. It could happen because I bet you, I think there's a reason why the Pinstripe Bowl keeps picking BC, because they have a ton of alumni in that area, and it's one of the few bowls that BC will actually pack. So that's one, but I know you guys hate it because it's freezing cold. Another one, the Gasparilla Bowl. That could be, I think that's against an AAC team, so something like South Florida, ECU. You can play the Pirates again. Those types of teams are the Gasparilla Bowl, and that one is supposed to be out of Tampa Bay, but I'm not sure what they're doing because the Tropicana Field got destroyed by that hurricane. And finally, the Military Bowl. I've seen that one a lot. Military Bowl, I've seen projections for BC to play Army or Navy. That could absolutely happen. Curious to see how they feel about BC after the COVID thing a couple years ago when BC bailed or couldn't play because they had too many guys with COVID. I'm sure the Military Bowl lost a ton of money because of that, but I don't know how they feel about that. But that's something to look for. So those are the 3 I think of. This is potential for the Sun Bowl too. I don't know. It just kind of had to wait to see how that. I mean, that would be the key. Like, I mean, you go into Tempe or Tucson, going out to Arizona, that would be a great one. Now, if there's too many ACC teams, there's also the potential that BC gets knocked out into some random bowl. Now, I saw Brett McMurphy put one up after I tweeted at him like, hey, you forgot to put BC in your bowl projections. And then like 3 hours later, I saw it on there. That he has them in the First Responders Bowl again, which I don't believe is ACC affiliated, playing against Minnesota. That would be a good one too. That would be also a fun one because the First Responders Bowl was the time they played Boise State, I believe, and that game got canceled because of thunder and lightning. So there's lots of different potential. BC just needs to win. If they want to get a better bowl, they need to win. Personally, I honestly want to see them. I don't want to see them play. I really don't want to see them play a service academy just because I want to see a bowl game. I don't want to see one of the service academies make the game be done in like an hour and a half because they just drag the game down so quick. Not all that interested in that. I don't want to see a Big Ten team, honestly, either. But if it came down to it, that'd be okay. But I want to see just kind of like a team BC can beat. Honestly, I don't care who it is. I want 8 wins. I think that's more important than who it is or what it is. Just get BC a team they can beat. 8 wins, ending this 15-year streak of BC winning 7-6 or below. They just need it. So I don't care who it is. And you know what? Like, you guys can all tell me that oh, it doesn't matter. 8 wins is 8 wins. Just get the 8 wins. So that's my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think. You can leave it in the comment section. Well, I'm going to head out. Thank you all for listening. This is AJ Black. Follow me along with me on Twitter at AJBlack247. I am on Blue Sky. I actually like Blue Sky. It's just a really cool system. Check that out. It's AJ Black247 on there as well. Check out Eagle Insider for my work and a whole bunch of other guys' work and gals. There's a bunch of us people writing on that site right now. If you want BC news, we have women's basketball, men's basketball, all sorts of stuff up there. I know I have not talked about the men's basketball tournament right now. There's just too much football to talk about, and that rules the roost. But I know they're winning right now against Missouri State last I checked, so that's good. Hopefully that ends. Hopefully this is not cold takes exposed after I'm done. But thank you all again for listening, and I'll see you all again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.